How is it going, guys? We are finally adding some power to my FRS today. How much power? I don't know, probably not that much, but more than what we're currently working with. I did do a baseline dyno run a couple months ago over at Paragon Performance. They do a bunch of C8 Corvette stuff, so if you happen to have a new Corvette, hit them up. So what we're working with is 170 wheel horsepower and 141 foot-pounds of torque. Absolutely abysmal, but it's to be expected. Also, if we take a closer look at the dyno chart, you're gonna see that notorious torque dip that these cars are known for. It is painful to look at, but we're gonna be taking care of that today by installing an FTspeed unequal link catted header that's gonna help smooth out that torque curve, add some more power, and give us that rumble that everybody knows and loves. I'm gonna pair it up with the stock front pipe and overpipe. Don't worry, I'll get those upgraded later. We're gonna throw back on the Remark R1 Spec Catback exhaust. I cannot wait to hear how this sounds once I have everything put back together. So let's get the old one off of the car, get the new one installed. We're gonna head back to the dyno, get it tuned, and we'll see where we end up. Now, before we do anything, go out and get yourself a big ass bottle of this stuff, some PB Blast or any other rust penetrant, and spray down all of the nuts and bolts at least a couple hours, if not days ahead of time, especially if you live in an area where they salt the roads, because I promise you, your shit is probably gonna be rusty as hell, and if you don't do this, you're gonna end up with some issues like I did where the bolts and nuts seize, and it's just a big headache. So PB Blast the shit out of everything. First thing we need to do is unplug the two O2 sensors. The connectors are this black and gray one right next to the radiator hose on the passenger side. Each harness is also gonna have two zip tie clip trees that connect it to the engine, so be sure to pull those out as well so they don't get caught when you're pulling the header out. The next step is gonna be removing the under tray, which my car did not come with, but it's pretty straightforward. Just a couple bolts and pop clips and that should come out fairly easily. Now we can move on to the overpipe to header connection. So this is where I ran into a little bit of an issue. There's supposed to be two 14mm nuts holding the overpipe to the header. Mine refused to come out, so I actually had to take the header and overpipe out in one piece. Not a huge deal, just had to lift the engine a little bit and sneak it out. But I was only able to get one of the damaged studs out. So for the sake of this video, I have it held together with a new bolt and nut here. But yeah, there's supposed to be two 14mm nuts. Hopefully you guys can remove that so you don't have to deal with the overpipe. Now there's only 6 14mm nuts holding the header in place, 3 on each side. We're looking at the driver's side here. There's 2 on the outer edge of the engine and 1 on the inside. I'm actually gonna leave this last one on the driver's side loosely installed so that when we uninstall the rest of the nuts and actually go to take this off, it doesn't just drop down and hit me in the face. Same thing over on the driver's side, except these are a little bit more hidden. This is the one on the inside and the other 2 are kind of tucked away. The other 2 are tucked away in here. One is between the overpipe and the header, and the other is in between the catalytic converter and the runners. I've got all but 2 of those nuts removed, so I'm gonna take them out one at a time here. Just make sure you're supporting it, again, so it doesn't hit you in the face. There's one. Again, make sure, you also wanna make sure that the harnesses for the O2 sensors are not caught on anything so that when you go to pull this off, you don't have to go buy new O2 sensors. So be wary of that. So I've got one left. I'm gonna support this with my head. Okay. All right, all the nuts are removed, so I'm gonna carefully lower this down. You might have to wriggle it free due to the studs that connect it to the overpipe, but since I don't have those any longer, this is a little bit easier. I've got the OEM header off of the car. This is the new one here, which is ceramic coated in this amazing bronze finish. That's gonna help to keep those engine bay temperatures under control. I need to transfer over the O2 sensors and then we can get this thing installed. To remove the O2 sensors, you'll need an O2 sensor socket, or you can just use a 22mm wrench like I am. Just make sure you remember the orientation you take them out so that when you reinstall them, you know exactly where they need to go. The one with the gray connector goes into the bung before the catalytic converter, and the one with the black connector goes in after. Once the header is ready to be installed, take the new gaskets that are included and slide them onto the studs like so. Put them at a little bit of an angle and it should just stay there, and then we can install the header. Again, make sure you've got those gaskets installed, and then we can slide the header into place by lining the holes with the studs. Oh, I probably should have grabbed the nuts before I installed this, but hopefully we can get this to stay. Please don't fall. Okay, quickly. Before we torque down those 6 nuts, let's get a new header to overpipe gasket installed along with the new hardware that's included. And then once we get these tightened down, we can torque those 6 header nuts to 22 foot-pounds. Once we have everything torqued down, all that's left to do is get the under tray reinstalled, which I don't have one, reconnect the O2 sensors, and we are good to go to the dyno. All right guys, we are back from the dyno. The car's kind of torn apart right now, but completely unrelated, so ignore that. Before I get into the numbers, I want to give a big thank you to Graham over at Boosted Performance Tuning for getting everything dialed in, as well as Paragon Performance for allowing me to use their dyno. What we ended up with was 177 wheel horsepower and 143 foot-pounds of torque. Not a huge gain, but our main goal was to get rid of that notorious torque dip that occurs from about 3,000 to 4,500 RPM. And if we take a look at the comparison, we can see that we gained about 15 wheel horsepower and about 20 foot-pounds of torque, which is absolutely huge. Before, the car just felt really sluggish during corner exit and felt like it fell flat on its face. But now just driving back from the dyno, I could kind of feel that difference already, and I'm really excited to get this car back out on the track this weekend out at Autobahn. And now it also sounds amazing. Not that it didn't sound amazing before, but it kind of reminds me of when I had my Bug-Eye WRX wagon that had that iconic Subaru rumble that just puts a smile on your face. So if you guys are interested in picking one of these up for yourself, I'll drop the link down below. As always, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.